UFL Gambling Podcast Week 7 reaction show and power rankings episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Edge Boost. Yes, the bank account built for bettors. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet. Use the promo code SGPN to get a $25 deposit matching your deposit bonus. We're also brought to you by Naira Bets. Yes, NYRA Bets. Claim your $200 deposit bonus today at nyrabets.com/SGPN200. Use the promo code SGPN200, of course, and let it ride.
This is Brian Bosworth, a.k.a. The Boz, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride, brother. Peace out. Boz out.
Is this or is it not the XFL? Yes, it is. Do I not currently have a pulse? Yes, I do. Let's play football.
This is the XFL.
Welcome to the UFL Gambling Podcast. Hopefully you can hear me as I am down in South America. I feel like this is like the fucking astronaut going to... hopefully you got my audio here. But yes, youtube.com/@UFL Gambling Pod. Hit that like and subscribe button. What a wild week of action. I know I've got some text messages from these clowns about a lot of games. It's been a lot of fun. I'm sorry I was out on a powerboat for half the weekend, so forgive me if I did not catch the which game was it? I didn't catch that Battlehawk game. I was out chopping waves. So you're going to have to let me know about that one. But, yeah, anyway, if you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, my name is Colby Swinging Database Dan, a.k.a. Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I mean, rumor has it that I was doing more showboating than that Memphis bullshit team. All right, I was out on these waves, having good old times, checking out the Narcos. How you doing, folks? I am joined by my co-host, the host of the Bottom Line Bombs podcast, which you should be subscribed to, because they're always detonating off high heat there. Give it up for Scumbagger Vance, a.k.a. the Bet Detective, C.J. Sullivan. How are you, pal?
Good, buddy. How we doing? Do you guys make sure you hear me? I know we heard you. You came in through, blasting through like you were the feds at our door, knocking through everyone down on the ground.
All right. So here, you know what I mean? We are also joined by third man in the collective here, the host of the Old Fashioned Football Podcast. He has had some difficulties with the old no turn today, but give it up for Justin Mark, aka No Turn JMark. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one for the podcast listeners because it was silent for about 5 seconds after you hit live. And then you came in at about 200% volume. So they're going to be turning it up like, do we not hear them? And then boom, right. You're going to make people jump out of their seats.
Well,
I clicked live over here. The internet's a little slow down here. So I clicked live and I didn't get that red light, meaning we're live, till I think you guys got it right away, I think.
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah, there we go. Guys, how are you? Another week of United Football League excellence where Crossroads meet bullshit. And the shout out to the chat. I see the chat rolling along. But we had a fun week of action. And we're going to go game by game here in a second. But, we inch closer to that playoff race, Bet Detective. And I know you're very delighted to see these UFL playoffs. What'd you make of the overall week of action?
It was a very UFL weekend. There was a lot of UFL beats, the UFL crossroads and bullshit, if you will. There's never a deserved in football or sports in general, but some undeserved results, but it played out the way it played out. Some good games, though. Absolutely. I mean, there were definitely exciting games, except for that Memphis-St. Louis game. That was just absolute trash. But the other three, not bad, and they're excited as we come down the home stretch here. We got they already announced next year's tickets are on sale. Pizza Hut's throwing 200 pizza parties for the fans. I realized then it immediately went to, if you didn't notice, Pizza Hut, it's a sponsor. They're giving out 200 pizza parties this weekend to viewers on TV, and if you're in attendance. Now they knocked it down to 100 pizza parties. I think they just did a head count of how many UFL fans there were, so they went from 200 to 100. Like, oh, we don't need 200. Let's just bring it down to 100. That should take care of the masses.
Even with that, they're like, let's be honest, we're not going to be able to fill 100 fucking parties.
Right.
JMark, we know you're a big Pizza Hut guy. It's the best pizza in Iowa, I think. What your thoughts of this weekend, and what's your go-to pizza spot there?
They like that Casey's bullshit out there.
Absolutely. Casey's gas station pizza.
Oh my God. It's like, I've seen that shit driving through there. It's like taco pizza. They have like sides for taco pizza there.
Oh God. And Iowans will tell you that only they can do taco pizza. You got to keep it hard. You don't cook the chips. That's the key.
Yeah. You don't want them all soggy and shit.
Right. It's true.
You were talking about tickets going on sale. Just a little, behind baseball here. Shout out to Coach K for kind of letting me in on this. It's some insight from the Roughnecks. As a Roughnecks season ticket holder, he did get his renewal invoice today. So the tickets used to be $450. Now they're going to $340 for 2026. Now, normally you don't see ticket prices drop.
Go down.
You would expect them to go up. So I'm not sure what that says about the league having a big decrease there. I guess, I don't know. Guess we'll find out.
It's a league of the people. I like that. You certainly can't raise prices after this year. So shout out to Coach K putting a little extra change in his pocket. I like that.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then as far as the playoff race heating up, technically nobody has clinched the playoffs yet, which I feel like is better than last year, because going into week 8, I think it was almost settled, or at least 2 or 3 of the spots were. So anybody's ball game technically, except for maybe Showboats and Brahmas. But
are you buying that though, or is this an NBA draft lottery thing? Like they didn't want to do last year. Like, no, we got to figure this thing out. You buying it, Pet Detective?
Well, first of all, when it comes to the NBA draft, I would give a shout out to Nico Harrison, who I'm now inspired by, because I also make horrible, ridiculous business decisions and then try to get bailed out by winning the lottery. So now that he can do it, I feel like, well, you know what I mean? Maybe I can stumble backwards and just win the lottery to bail me out. So I don't mind Nico in his plan of attack. It would have been a little different, obviously, if Arlington would have won that game, and a couple different. Houston, obviously, would have switched it up. But yeah, they're still technically alive. But I think there's going to be a little bit of a distance. No, the path is a lot tougher now.
From a distance. Look, let's jump into this action and talk about each one of these ball games that had the world and had the interwebs just blowing up. But before we do that, I do want to let you know that we are part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Yes, and the D-Gens line of gear, which you see my hat there. Maybe if the internet's coming through, might just be on audio here, like fucking Neil Armstrong here. But look, the D-Gens line of gear is live in the merch store. That's a motorcycle gang going by. Don't worry about them. And to celebrate, we're taking 20% off everything with the promo code D-Gens. So go ahead and get yourself a UFL Gambling Podcast shirt, or a D-Gens only hat, a Lock Dog and Tees t-shirt, old-fashioned football, Bottom Line Bombs. There's a lot of great stuff out there. Bottom Line Bombs t-shirt there. So get on over there and let it ride. All right, we are back, and we opened up UFL action where Crossroads meet bullshit with the DC Defenders, of course, not covering by a half a point as they took down the San Antonio Brahmas 32-24, an epic game with a big comeback. I did catch this game. It's one of the ones that I made before I went power boating, and this is this one I was concerned. And with good reason. I was actually I'm glad I didn't text you guys talking shit, because I was gonna pull a JMark and text about how this DC Defenders team is phony as hell, and then I didn't, and I showed that discipline, and they battled back and won 32-24 against Peyton Party and Wade, son of Bum Phillips. Your thoughts on this game, Bet Detective? Because was this the best game of the weekend? Because this was pretty even when you look at the yardage and everything. It was like the Brahmas actually outgained DC by 5 yards. So that's what you want to do. You want to, that's how you win a game. You normally don't outgain the opponent in this league. So what do you make of this one here, Bet Detective?
One, I don't know. Is your connection still going strong there? Is that just me, JMark?
No, he sounds like a choppy robot.
Yeah, you're a bit choppy if you want to work on that, Dundee. I don't know what you can possibly do. I know you're powerboat and motorcycle gangs down there in Columbia, but that is the Columbia connection, Channing Brown. But we'll work on that. As far as this game, it was a very exciting game. What I got out of it was how good Kevin Hogan looked, in San Antonio. We'll give him a week, the 32-year-old man, and a huge play, obviously, right before halftime. The last play before halftime was the fumble, 50-yard touchdown to tie it. Really gave DC life back. But at the same time, it seemed inevitable. They fumbled a kickoff, which seems to be a weekly thing in the UFL. Everyone just fumbles these kickoff returns, and it changes the entire momentum. The first drive, Tamu throws an easy touchdown, and then they super challenge it. It gets called back for a holding. So I'm like, that was obviously a good use of the challenge, but it also seemed like DC eventually will be able to do whatever they wanted to. And they both did. And a lot of players came out of it. Tamu had a great game, 279 for 3 touchdowns. Corbin for San Antonio. Maybe that was the right thing. Put McFarland on the put him on the inactive, because Corbin tore it up, 109 yards and a touchdown. I don't want to be that guy, but we took an early -7, so we did get the cash to -7. But on the show, we gave it out as 8.5. It was a loss. If you are a Brahmas backer, you deserve the cover anyway, because the Brahmas could have won this game. It was a back and forth affair. Neither team really could stop each other, so it turned out to be good offense and good things to watch. But DC did what they do. They put up big plays.
Yeah, did this affect the way you power rank the DC Defenders?
Now we'll get to that. I don't want to peek my cards, but no, I liked what they did. I mean, obviously the Brahmas were a completely different team than they were last couple of weeks. Even they're even a different team than the team that beat DC at DC. This was not that same team. This was a competent team because of Kevin Hogan. We gave him some protection, and obviously in that Birmingham game he had that big drop, and like he looked great. I mean, he was moving the chains, and they're just back and forth. Now I don't know. They got the win. It was they had to gut out the win, and they eventually cream roasted a crop. Although no Roland, which kept me out of my kept me out of winning DFS, to be honest with you. I did real quick. I did get 7th place in my DFS and got some cash on that. 7th out of 150 there. But Roland was like my only goose egg.
JMark, what did you make of these Brahmas? And I'm curious where you okay, if I'm not going to ask where you power rank DC, but are you a little concerned about the defense lately?
Yeah, I mean, the defense is a huge concern. Like CJ said on that first drive, the touchdown getting called back. When I was watching that first drive, I thought, oh, DC is going to roll. This is exactly like we talked about, the revenge angle. They lost it. They're pissed off after losing to the Panthers. They're going to roll. And just that cohesiveness they had on that first drive kind of fell apart a little bit. Now, obviously, they still put up 32 points, but it did not look as effortless as it did in that first drive. But yeah, their defense is a huge concern, and I don't think they stand a chance against any of the top 4 teams. I didn't move them in my power rankings. They're the exact same spot. But I don't think they stand a chance against the top teams in the playoffs if they can't stop anybody. So that's a bit of a concern.
We do have to give a shout out, though. Real quick, we do have to give a shout out on the amazing 4th down play. First of all, going for it. up one there. We needed the touchdown for the cover. Going for it and throwing it to the tackle eligible play, and he
love it every time.
Made him work for it too. He had to one-hand it, and so Tamu,
a Jumbo Elliott 2.0 there, man.
It was a Jumbo Elliott. That was awesome, and so that has to have good credit for the call, credit for the play, and credit for execution.
Yeah. I forget. Oh, you just wonder about the defense. Another week, it's been several weeks. I think Greg Williams' son, he looked great that first week without him, but each week since then, I feel like they've looked worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, no, their defense is a problem.
Yeah.
Well, I think that first week without him we talked about was the game plan already in place. And I think that's what we're seeing is kind of an issue now. Maybe he cannot game plan as well, right?
Yeah, he calls Dad's in Nashville, some strippers getting ready for the Tennessee State game. Son, I'll talk to you later. Game 2 was this was a bundle of fun as the Michigan Panthers somehow, some way end up winning 25-24 at Choctaw Stadium against these Arlington Renegades.
I know what way. If you want to answer that question,
yeah, please.
It's right here. Blandino, you're killing us up there. That's what son of a bum would say. Blandino just becomes God up there and changes the whole damn game. This was the first bad beat of the consecutive bad beats in UFL. I mean, Arlington got the cover, as predicted here by the bet detective, no problem there. But they should have won outright, should have had the under. And Blandino goes, "Oh no, hold on. I know everyone says the game's over because that's what the ref said and that's what everyone just saw." But Blandino's like, "You know what? Let's just put a second on the clock and grant a timeout." What? This isn't the NBA. The clock doesn't stop. Just because he didn't get a first down. He was short of the first down. The clock goes to 0. Go, no, put 1 second on. And then Stoops is like, well, how did they get the timeout then? All right, fine. There's 1 second, but now you don't grant him a timeout then.
I completely agree. I thought, this one was
robbery.
It reeked of bullshit. And I can't help but think we saw them try to get the Battlehawks into the playoffs. A loss to Arlington here.
Yeah.
Super catastrophic for that. And
right. They know Perkins is their ticket now, and they want a prominent, and I get it. And Perkins was great again, but so was the King of Spring. Perez 314, 2 touchdowns. JMark was in the slack at halftime, trash him as he always does. He is the ultimate. JMark is becoming the ultimate halftime jinx when he pipes in early. These games flip around like that. My God, and then but everyone else played great. Marinette played great. He was great for my DFS. Vaughn, 9 for 127 touchdown. Sal Cannella, big tight end weekend, by the way, in UFL. Sal Cannella and Roland Moore, McKinney, everybody.
They didn't really show the clock well, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
It kind of I know on replay they have the one look, and you're just like, it just seems a little phony to me. It seemed phony at the time. And look, I got a future on Michigan. I mean, in Arlington, I guess. Right. But I wanted my boy Perkins to win because he's the greatest. But this was a phony win, in my opinion. And
100%.
They got outgained by Arlington, so it was 2-0 against teams that could not put up more yardage than their opponent. But both those were close. JMark, are you concerned about the Michigan Panthers? Or, I know Arlington's pretty much – I don't think they're going to be able to make the playoffs with the way this league's helping these Battlebirds. But your thoughts on this game and what'd you think of that controversial ending?
Yeah, CJ's completely right. I have become the ultimate halftime jinx. I'm no longer going to message anything during halftime. I think I was talking about how Luis Perez had only thrown 3 touchdowns in that season. Mm-hmm. So Cookus, Matt Corral, they'd all thrown more touchdowns than him. How can he call himself the King of Spring? But he did look pretty good, obviously throwing for over 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. For the Panthers, I'm not really concerned about them based off of this game. I am concerned with the fact that Frank Ginda is going on the injury reserve. That is a big loss for their defense. So that's concerning. I'd also like to point out, I think it was 2-3 weeks ago, we were looking a little ahead at the the win totals that were on some of the books, and we said jump on Michigan Panthers over 5.5. They just need to win one more game now for that to cash. But no, I mean, the ending was terrible. Panthers shouldn't have won this game, obviously, but I guess you got to play by the UFL rules that they make up as we're going, and win is a win. So I guess credit to the Panthers they put themselves in position to be right at the goal line, I guess. True. Credit to them for that. But
and they still had to punch it in on the timeless play and get the conversion, and Tua did that. But I mean, obviously Arlington was pretty defeated at that point. Stoops was pissed. Stoops, you didn't hear too much, but he was like, because that was a huge. that was a win they obviously needed. It would have completely flipped their chances here at the end of the season to make the playoffs, and they got robbed by Dino Blandino. That's the worst part about it. It's okay if the refs. I don't even care if the refs on the field do it, but when Dino Blandino stops the game like 20 minutes later, like, oh no, and we just have to listen to Blandino. He's the god of the UFL. This jerk.
Remember, he had no referee experience whatsoever. It's not like Mike Pereira.
He's never been. As a reminder to all you fans out there, Dino Blandino has never been a referee ever in his life. He was a comic in New York City.
He was doing open mics. If me and CJ could tell you about some of the characters we met on open mic,
right? He was barking outside of Houston Street, flying people to get into the goddamn cafe at an open mic. And like paying us back by crushing my money line plays.
I used to open up at open mics for this guy named Propane from Wichita. He was great. Propane, maybe they'll hire him next year. They're already lowering the prices. Maybe Blandino's too expensive. Go out and hire Propane. All right. Folks, we're gonna get to the Sunday games, but before I do that, I want to let you know that the UFL Gambling Podcast, where Crossroads meet bullshit, it's brought to you by Edge Boost. Edge Boost is the first ever bank account built for bettors, ensuring all gambling transactions are approved, of course. No usage fees, no minimums, no credit checks. Earn cashback rewards, 100% approval for all betting deposits. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet with the promo code SGPN. And once again, deposit $25. And Edge Boost will match that deposit. That's edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. And we're also brought to you by Nyra. Yes, NYRA. The Preakness is just around the corner. And there's no better time to get on the action than with Nyra Bets. Sign up today using the promo code SGPN200 and score a $200 deposit match bonus. And don't wait. Head over to nyrabets.com/SGPN200 and claim your $200 deposit match bonus today. Yes, that's right. That's NYRA Bets, nyrabets.com/SGPN200. I'm constantly reminded of, Preakness is the ultimate shit show if you've never been. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Look, Underdog just launched their brand new ladder game. Win up to 500 times the amount of money you enter watching their favorite players climb that ladder. So hop on over there. It's fantastic stuff. So sign up, and when you do, sign up with our promo code TCESGPN to claim your special pick plus first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Once again, UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN. All right, we are back. You guys ever done Preakness? Preakness.
I did the ultimate Preakness. I told a story on the Patreon where I was at the last great of the Mohicans of the Preakness, where it was just complete lawlessness, where a dude went onto the track and tried to punch a horse mid-race to affect his bet. Yeah,
and he gets destroyed. Right?
1999, all the horses went around him, and luckily, no one got hurt. But my favorite part of that story was afterwards, they asked the security guy, like, hey, how come you didn't go out there and stop him, And he answered, in my favorite times when someone ever answers with their salary, he's like, I make $12 an hour. He's like, if someone wants to go kill themselves, like, there's like trucks out there. Those are thoroughbreds running 40 miles an hour. I'm not jumping in front of that. It's like running out on a highway. But yeah, it is insane. I saw like fights. It's all before like 10 a.m. It's a music festival. No music festival. It is a NASCAR. It's amazing.
YouTube that video. That was in like the late 90s. I feel like
99. I was there.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in that area, so we would go often. I mean, one of the nastiest things I've ever seen is a buddy of mine. We have like a group of like 25 people, so we're all in one area.
Mm-hmm.
And I go to hit the porta potty, and I open the door, and my buddy's slightly overweight there, and he's just up on top of the standing on the toilet with his hands on the ceiling as some random girl is giving him fellatio. That's the Preakness to me, all right? Because you
the crown jewel.
Just unbelievable event. You got to go if you haven't been. Guys, Sunday we had action, and you saw the default photo as coaching. It matters in this where Crossroads meet bullshit. Well, at halftime, JMark sent us a nice text talking shit about these Birmingham Stallions, even though we knew Jamar Smith hadn't really got in there. But boy, when he came in and Skip made those halftime adjustments, limiting Houston to like 40 yards in the second half, my Birmingham Stallions giddied up and came all the way back to get a victory, to be the best team in the league. All right? How's it going, guys?
Well, this is what the chat was asking, if we've had your retribution yet there. Like I believe they were saying, had we clear the air? John wanted to know, because yesterday's Bottom Line Bombs, I had to reintroduce an old segment of mine called The Worst Person in Gambling. I used to do Bring Someone of the Week, and this year it was you. This week, Mr. Picks Rum Dundee himself, who was the man who was the recipient of a bad beat victory. Congratulations. Take your victory, I like to say. But then to act like it was deserving, you were smart, and this is what should have happened. You deserve it. I told you so. It's coaching, halftime adjustment. Shut the fuck up, Dundee. Take your victory. It's Mother's Day. Kiss your beautiful new wife, who's a new mother down in Columbia. Instead, he's on the slack, ripping on us because we just got soaked in one of the most historical bad beats of all time. I'm push back. Congratulations to Birmingham for making the comeback victory. That was also historic. They deserved that win and all, but to cover the 4.5 was absolute insanity. I mean, they cut all the way back. They scored a touchdown, up by 2. Then, of course, the fumbled. The only thing that could happen was the fumble kickoff, and then the UFL does UFL things where they have a 15-yard penalty from the extra point, so that moves it all the way down to the 2-yard line. So Skip, who should have took a knee anyway to run out the clock so that they wouldn't give a chance to win, had no choice but to punch it in from the 2 just to get the cover of the 8. It was so gross on so many levels. This bad beat, I couldn't even comprehend this bad beat. And by the way, Jamar Smith came in because Cook has got injured. It's not like Skip Holtz made this adjustment and put him in there. But
he didn't. He wasn't he named?
What's that?
Didn't they name him started this week? I don't know if you can hear.
Well, they might have. I mean, he looked better. I don't know if they did that, but he looked better than Cook. He looked great. Well, I was amazed too. I'm like, how many quarterbacks does Birmingham have on this roster that are not just competent but better than everyone else in the league? That's
5
what I'm thinking. Yeah,
quarterbacks have played this year. I think that's the stat. And by the way, Jamar Smith, I believe, was working at Dunkin' Donuts a week ago.
Yeah, he was. He was retired and he came back. So, and he looked great. Good for him. But I'm saying, you think the league would want to spread these guys out a bit, and have some competent quarterback play around the league.
Available to be picked up. I don't understand.
They're not all available now. They couldn't all get Matt Corral and McGoo.
They could have got McGoo.
I'm saying you say that the league is fixed for St. Louis. I think the league is fixed for Birmingham. With all these stud quarterbacks. I mean, this is insane how many they have back there.
Let me tell you something. Here's why it's not a bad beat.
Okay. Right? Hey, this is why you're the worst.
Here's what
I don't tell you. Just say, hey, it's a bad beat. I take the win and you move on. It goes both ways. I understand.
No. Because you only have 40 yards in the second fucking half.
Yeah.
You only have 40 fucking yards. And by the way, the other games where they're all like within 5 yards of yardage.
Right.
This was dominance. This was they outgained it by like 160 yards. right? They were the much better team. They made the adjustments, and they're the best team in this league.
I'll counter that with the yardage real quick. And you're right. The coaching is definitely different. We don't have to compare Skip Holtz to Curtis Johnson. We all know the coaching disparity there. I mean, punting on the 40 when all you need was a field goal just to cement this win. They're just ridiculous.
That was my favorite. I got 5 DMs on that.
Unbelievable. But then I'll say this with the yardage. In the first half, I mean, it was dominance by Houston. Then you got a pick 6, and like that's 40 yards. Obviously, that's not yards you're going to get. And then, but if they did punt that ball, I mean, I had all the comments in the world. Houston was going to drive down and score because Birmingham couldn't stop them. They couldn't stop them on the ground. They couldn't stop McClendon. I mean, first half, it was obviously a game of 2 halves. And a huge turning point was Birmingham getting that last second touchdown right before half. Then they get the ball back, and that kind of got the momentum going. And then they turned out to be the better team, and they just flexed on them, and greatness overcame. But that being said, Houston melted down, and it was Curtis Johnson as the coach. Not a surprise. I can always take a bad beat, especially in the UFL. I expect it. What I don't want is justification from the victors from down in South America on Mother's Day.
Well, I'll tell you this, buddy. One thing lost in all of this between you guys and your nonsense you've been polluting on these airwaves is the Stallions' run game showed up 142 yards on the 100%. Watch out. If that gets going, it's over. It's over
for sure.
Right?
Absolutely. Pearson looked great. Even CJ looked good. I mean, they did whatever they wanted to basically in the second half. But Cookus did not look great. The injury, I don't know if the injury was a blessing in disguise, but it was wild.
I love the presser after the game. JMark, you're Jamar Smith. Obviously, I almost called him JMark. Jamar Smith. That's why I was surprised that he went with Cookus, because I was like, Jamar Smith has known this offense for so long. That's why I thought it was pure brilliance to everything I said last week came true. I'm a fucking genius, and Curtis Johnson is the worst. JMark, your thoughts, and thank you for that nice message.
Yeah, the halftime jinx. You know what? I don't blame Curtis Johnson one bit. This poor guy's never been beating anybody 25-6. It's not his fault he blew it.
It was the most points in franchise history for a first half for Houston.
Yeah. I mean, he was in uncharted territory here. It's not his fault. And, Birmingham, you mentioned they really outgained them. They should have. They had the ball 13 minutes longer. Again, kind of goes to coaching, being able to control the clock and all that.
And not punting at your own at the away 40.
Yeah. I feel at a little, to an extent, I should say, I feel like JMark is there to do a favor to Skip, right? And that's why he didn't start this week. I don't think he really wants to be in there and getting hit. I think he retired for a reason, because he's like, this was fun. I'm done with that. But I think Skip has said, like, hey, I need you to help me out in a bind here because I'm running out of quarterbacks. And that's why he started as the second string and didn't come in until Cookus got hurt. So that's kind of interesting. That's how I'm reading this situation. Maybe I'm wrong there. That's how I'm reading it, though. But credit to the Stallions for winning the game. They shouldn't have covered. That was bullshit. I agree. They should have won the game. They played the comeback and played well. They should have won, but they shouldn't have covered. And not much else to be said, except I'm not putting this on Curtis Johnson. The poor guy's never had that kind of lead.
I'll even vouch for Birmingham a little bit. It's Blandino kind of fucked them there too. The one catch they had, and then they Blandino rolls it incomplete like 2 plays afterwards. Like, whoa, what are we doing here?
What the hell was that, by the way?
Yeah. I mean, and then they had to settle for a field goal. I mean, he kind of ripped him off there, and I actually kind of agree. Like, you can go back and play, but you can't just change the rules like that. Blandino's we buzzed down. Okay, well, the 2 plays already went off. It's too late.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't really give us clarity on how that's possible.
No, they just make it up as the one. They're like, oh, the ground school code. It was like it came from officials, and no, it came from Blandino. I'm telling you, Blandino's the god who's controlling this UFL from wherever New York loft he's at.
Well, that leads us into the final game, which once again I was powerboating after the Birmingham game. I said I got to get out there. Memphis outgained St. Louis by 16 yards. But so the team that got outgained, by the way, 1-3. I'm sorry, teams that put up more yardage, 1-3 in this, proving Sean Green's theory of if you have less yards, that's how you win in the OFL. Guys, I didn't watch this game. You got to fill me in on this one. I was surprised with the final. I was also surprised with they're going to put this is the best part. They're going to find a way to finagle these battle birds into the playoffs, and they're going to just get beat because I don't think they're any good. But maybe I didn't get eyes on this game. So, Bet Detective, what happened here?
I was a little UFL'd out by the time this game rolled around. Not gonna lie. After that Houston debacle, I had it on. I kept an eye on it, and I obviously watched all the stuff afterwards. It was definitely a mad game.
I'm this fucking country ass fucked up town.
I mean, neither team really did much. Dugan looked okay. His usual stuff. 150 yards, ran for 50. Win was all right. Fine. I was surprised they gave Prince the ball a lot more than Hills. Prince had 17 carries for 44 yards, didn't do anything. The start of this game was Rodrigo Blankenship, the kicker for St. Louis, the ex-NFL kicker with the goggles. He drilled some 50 yards. He was solid, and he was the difference in the game. So a lot of nothing in this game.
JMark, your thoughts on it's a game about nothing. What happened here?
Yeah, no, absolutely right. It's a game about it was just a slow, not very exciting game, and it wasn't necessarily because the defenses were playing so well. Just the offenses were a little inept and inefficient. So I know there are people that are like, "Oh, the score is only 19-9. That must have been great defense," or they think if there's a defensive battle, it's a bad game. I don't agree with that, but this game was not that. This was.
Yeah, it was just nothing. It was a Sunday afternoon, Mother's Day. Let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Get these Battlehawks a win and get out of here.
That's exactly what it felt like, too. I mean, let's just hurry this along. This ain't good football. Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, so what? This puts the Battlebirds. What's the playoff scenario? They're like what? Like a win and an Arlington loss, and it's a lock, right?
Yeah, that's correct, because they have 5 wins. Renegades have 3. So, Battlehawks win 1 more, and the Renegades lose 1 more. It's done for.
Unbelievable.
Terrible.
Same with the Roughnecks. The Roughnecks lose 1, and Panthers and Stallions win. They're done. Which, I mean, I don't think any of us think the Roughnecks are going to make the playoffs, but they do still have the opportunity. I think they play Michigan twice.
There you go. All right, we're gonna get to these power rankings, but now we've gone through where the Crossroads meet the bullshit. But before we get to these power rankings, I want to let the good folks know that the UFL Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Rhythm. Yes, Rhythm is your home for AI back picks and props. Dominate the NBA playoffs and MLB prop market with Rhythm. And building your own model is simple and easy. I love doing that. You can copy other models, but I like building my own one with things I like. And Rhythm knows you'll love their product. That's why they're going to give you a 7-day free trial period. Look, Rhythm has some amazing deals going on right now as well. 25% off the monthly subscription with the promo code SGPN25 and 50% off the annual subscription with the promo code SGPN50. So check it out. That's Rhythm, RITHMM. Promo code SGPN25 or SGPN50. And don't forget your free 7-day trial period, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. We're also brought to you by MyBookie.ag. Yes, MyBookie is your place to bet on every single sport, including the NBA and NHL playoffs. Plus, there's props for every game. And for the true D-Gens out there, the MyBookie money bag is a blast. MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of different locations as well. You can easily deposit, get lightning-fast payouts using crypto. So what are you doing? Head on over to MyBookie.ag. Use our promo code TCE SGPN for 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Once again, terms and conditions apply. That's mybookie.ag, promo code TCE SGPN. We're also brought to you by Circa and the Ultimate Fantasy Football Giveaway. Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada is giving away the ultimate fantasy football experience for a 12-person league to draft in Vegas and be treated like VIPs for their entire stay. Yes, the winner will receive a 2-night stay at Circa Resort and Casino for the entire 12-person league, 6 double king rooms, that is. You'll be able to hold your own draft at a Cabana at Stadium Swim, which if you haven't been there or seen it, just Google image that thing. That deserves to be in the Smithsonian. Look, they're also going to give you a $5,000 food and beverage credit, limo transportation to and from the airport. You're going to show up. Every gal in Vegas is going to be wanting to know who the hell you are with your limo. A welcome party at Legacy Club for the league, where I follow the Legacy Club, and I saw the Nature Boy Ric Flair shit hammered there a few weeks ago, having a blast. Look, a reservation at the world's largest sportsbook as well, which is obviously Circa Sportsbook, with a $500 beverage credit for the league, a 2-hour open bar package for the league at the Overhang Bar. I mean, it goes on and on and on. The contest runs May 5th through June 30th, and here's how to enter. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/circa. That's CIRCA. Sportsgamblingpodcast.com/circa. All right, we are back, and I am still figuring out how to spell circa. Guys, let's get these slides out of here. Enough of the slide. Yeah. Slide masters.
Whoa, here we are.
Are you guys there? Because I'm a little bit behind. You know, you guys are all on DVD and shit. I'm on beta over here. So at Team 8, I'm curious, Bet Detective, do you have the San Antonio Brahmas? Because that's who I have.
Actually, I've done a little flipping around this week, and I don't know if it was out of emotion or not, but I actually flip-flopped.
It's easy to see a tide turn.
Yeah. I know DC's defense is bad, but I liked that what the entire San Antonio team looked like, and with not just Hogan, but the entire roster, even that D line kind of looked like shades of what they were last year when they made that run to the championship game. So I put Memphis at 8. Memphis, they had a little bump with win, but now they're just that was such a disappointing effort for St. Louis there at home, catching the points, just doing absolutely nothing. They're back to they also don't have the playmakers that San Antonio has either. So I got Memphis at 8, a little flip flop.
JMark, did you do the same?
I did. I mean, these two teams, I feel like it's a little bit of an 8A, 8B. Yeah, you can make a case for either of them to be the last team in this league, but I do have the Boats at 8 as well.
I just can't put a team that scored 3 points in multiple games over the past 3 weeks.
No, I mean, if you're looking macro, for sure, it's the Brahmas, no doubt about it. But if you're just going by recent activity, you can make a case for either one. But like JMark said, they're both 8A, 8B.
Well, then, I mean, I answered my 7 is the Memphis Showboats, so I feel like you guys have the Brahmas at 7, all correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, we can get past that. At number 6, I got these St. Louis Battlebirds.
Oh, man.
Of course you do.
Yeah, phony ass team. I didn't watch them this week, but they got no goddamn talent. They're putting up like 170 yards of offense each week. Goddamn phony ass team. The league's trying to do everything to get them in there because they're the only fan base that gives a shit. They didn't care when the St. Louis Cardinals left for Arizona, did they? It was only when the Rams came there. Kurt Warner was winning those goddamn Super Bowls. Yeah, I got the Battlebirds at number 6. Bet Detective, who do you got at 6?
I for the most consecutive weeks, I have these snake-bitten Houston Roughnecks who obviously had the pretty much season-ending result there, blowing that big lead versus Birmingham. I don't want to give a sneak peek for the look-ahead lines if we ever get to that, but judging by what we know of your rankings and how you are and how this is going to go, we might have a play of the millennium for Rum Dundee coming up in the Birmingham Battlehawk game. But anyway, point is, I got Houston at number 6. This is where we set our tier, I believe. There's 8, 7, there's 6, and then there's the top 5. We can throw a blanket that are much different than these other teams. Houston at 6.
St. Stephen saying I so much hate on St. Louis. What they're not good. I didn't watch this week's game, but They haven't been very good, and I feel like the fan base has been good, even though you're cooking the books. You know what I mean? You're cooking the books. But look, I'm a Max Duggan guy, so I hope I hope he excels in the playoffs, and I hope I look like a fool. JMark, who do you got at 6?
Yeah. Don't say we're all hating on
Right.
St. Louis.
This is Dundee.
Colby, who didn't watch them this week. There's 3-win teams out there that he could still
for a
list.
reason. Last week they put up $150.
But they have 5 wins, and that's what matters. They're winning games.
Phony. They're phony wins ever since the injury. Get the fuck out of here.
I also have the Roughnecks. I think that they've done better, right? Since the beginning of the season. They've looked better, but you can't really put them above any of these other teams, I don't feel like. I have them at 6 as well. I know Colby can put them above, but
their offense has a pulse. Even though they
remember how much cocaine might have been going on down there in Colombia. We don't know.
A little coffee spices.
That's Mike and I drink, and I don't have stress, and I'm healthy.
At 5, I do have the Arlington Renegades. The Houston Roughnecks, because they are better than St. Louis right now. Eye test, they're better. Curtis Johnson, Tony Meatball, they're probably similar level coaches. So I guess you give a slight edge to Tony Meatball, but yeah, I mean, come on, guys. Honestly, right now, if you were setting the line if they were playing this week, you're telling me you would favor the Battlehawks?
Well, I mean, it obviously depends where the game is played. They just played recently in St. Louis. They won a gross game, 12-6, but it was in St. Louis. But that's not the point. Our rankings have nothing to do with your rank. I can't even keep up with your logic where your rankings are all over. You know, I mean, like, who's going up and who's going. Don't
worry. The logic is, I fucking have had the Stallions the past 3 years. Futures cashed off three of them. I
love it. So you have Arlington at 5.
No, I'm sorry, Houston at 5.
Houston at 5. That's right. You had St. Louis at 6. I forgot. St. Louis 6, Houston at 5. All right, fair enough. I mean, there's arguments to be made for sure. I have Arlington 5. Like I said, I'm disappointed. It was our big future to start the season. Very disappointed that Blandino took a victory away from them. Their season's probably now tanked, but they're still competent. Obviously, like I said, they could beat anyone. I called that they're going to play Michigan well. There was a letdown spot for Michigan. There was a gambler's paradise. Getting 3 free points as the line moved. It opened up, at Pick'em or whatever. And they can really play with anybody in the league, Arlington. I believe that, but they only have 3 wins, and 3 wins are 3 wins. So number 5.
God, you sound like fucking Blandino talking right now. JMark, who do you got at 5?
Yeah, how insulting. I got the Renegades at 5. The king of spring, I don't think so. The king of stink. I just don't have any faith in him.
How the fuck do you guys have St. Louis above Arlington? You're fucking delusional. You're delusional.
Just beat them 2 weeks ago.
That was a phony ass fucking game, dude. You know this league. All right?
Wins are what matter.
Oh my God, I want to vomit. Pass me the fucking barf bucket.
I love it.
Okay. I got the Renegades at 4 because they are better. They're better. They're better on offense. They're better on defense. Even that shit offense they have, they're trotting out there with the king of spring. It's still better than St. Louis's battlebird bullshit. All right, and the defense is way better. You guys are crazy to have St. Louis ahead of Arlington. Look, I can understand the Roughneck one because Curtis Johnson is such a crazy head coach that it's tough to fit where they would be. But to have them ahead of Bob Stoops and the Renegades, disrespect. I can't believe it, guys. Who do you got at 4, Bet Detective?
I have St. Louis. Don't forget them beating Michigan a couple weeks ago as well.
I know
every game's phony.
Phony ass game.
5 phony wins.
Maybe we should have
the year. It was legit. Like first 2 weeks was legit. I feel.
Well, maybe we should have 2 separate power rankings: a phony ass power ranking for all the phony ass that win loss records, and then the actual what should be happening win loss records, which would be Houston and Arlington 1-2, I believe. But no, St. Louis 4, and to be honest, that's kind of a slight too. The way they are is their record is they're racking up wins. It's not looking pretty though. They don't really the last couple weeks for sure, but they're getting wins. And we said last week maybe Tony Meatball is the Italian Curtis Johnson, where players do like playing for him though. You know what I mean? Like he does what he does, but he gets them pumped up, and they go through walls for him. So I mean, and listen, and as we said, they have the league behind them, so the league will guide.
That's what I'm saying, guys. Like I was in an argument on the interwebs about
down in Columbia. You're on the interweb. Sorry, honey. I'll be right there. I'm on the Reddit forum here.
Dude, I was on the Reddit forum on a fucking powerboat, dude. I was sitting there talking. Like I was describing why this league sucks compared to. I mean, and I want the league. I want spring football to be good, and I was describing why it's the worst of any of the spring leagues for a long time, right? And I said more times than not, the team that the worst team wins. Like when you watch the game, I feel like in the UFL 2 years in, majority of the time, or at least 50% of the time, the worst team wins the game, which I think is a horrible, horrible thing for your league. It's just in the NFL or college football, it happens occasionally. In the CFL, it happens occasionally. But to have it 50% of the time, or to me, maybe even 60% of the time, is fucking insane. And I think the number one thing, if you asked me why, I would say look at the St. Louis Battlebirds. JMark, who do you got at 4?
Yeah, I got the Battlehawks at 4 as well. I don't think they're as bad as you're selling them to be. I do think Max Duggan hasn't been as efficient as that first game, but they're still winning games, and that's what matters. They're winning games, as CJ. Of
course they are. That's my point. They look like shit, so they're winning all these games.
No, as CJ said, these players, they do like Tony Meatball. They play hard for him, and I can't wait till it gets to the championship and it's the Stallions and the Battlehawks and they win. I want a camera on Colby to see how many things he throws and hear him.
Oh, I'm sure once they get to the championship, since the game is in St. Louis. You know what I mean? I'm sure they'll cook the books for that one. Like they've been cooking it the entire fucking time for them, trying to reroute the goddamn playoffs to get them in. Yeah. Anyway, I have you have the Battlebirds at number 4. At number 3, I have the DC Defenders. A lot of the stuff I said before, I think that defense is phony. But they still, Teamo's looked the best he has in a long time. So I think you could argue them even number 2. So, Bet Detective, who do you got at 3? Sorry.
That's all right. Now we hear some noises there. A lot of I'm glad we have a lot of different opinions on this list. Makes for a good program here. We're good for content. I have Birmingham at 3. I had them last week. I didn't move them. I do give them a tip of the cap for that big comeback win. But at the same time, you beat Houston at home. Congratulations. I mean,
the only team in the league that put up yardage this past week. And he's
that's crazy. DC and San Antonio both put up 350 yards each. But if you watch the game, I'm telling you,
I watched the Birmingham game.
Colby, I'm telling you, if you watch Birmingham, they're just not that much better than any of these. I will say they are better than some of these teams, but they're just not that much better than anyone anymore. They're just not the same Birmingham squad as the other Birmingham teams are. They're just as good, and the other teams are just as good as them right now. They can win or lose literally to anybody out there.
5 quarterbacks. 2 losses.
I understand that. 5 of the best quarterbacks in the league, and they also lost to Memphis.
Why are they the best?
Because they also lost to Memphis at home.
All these idiots. He does a one-read offense a lot of times, and it's very smart because this league and they're cocky coaches. All right.
I will say this: they lost to Memphis at home a couple weeks ago, so I'm not going to just automatically lock them in at 1 every week. They
also lost to the Houston Gamblers the year they won that last year, and they won the championship.
I'm not saying they can win the championship. They can also win the championship again this year, but right now they're 3. I'm not moving them up.
Unbelievable, blasphemy. JMark, who do you got at number 3?
Yeah, so number 3, same as last week. I got the DC Defenders. My issues with them. I mean, they've looked good. They've put up points. My issues with them is if they get behind, which can be easy because their defense sucks, Tamu is known for playing a little reckless when he's behind and making it worse. So I can't put him higher than 3. I almost moved him up just for CJ, but I couldn't do it. So So yeah, same as last week, number 3.
Yeah. Shout out to Sam S in the chat. Stallions didn't look good with Mago or Corral either, really. Well, yeah, week 1, they looked really bad against DC. DC actually whooped their ass on the line of scrimmage. And even with that, the Stallions had a chance to win the fucking game, right? And that's when he was the bellboy line. Yeah, I'm not going to panic at that. That's the thing, is the run game has not been as good as it's been in years past. But last week, I saw some things I like. Stallions have the best coaching. To me, it's not even like no one's even close. Stoops is somewhat there. So at 2, I got the Michigan Panthers. Let's go.
Find someone who loves you as much as Colby loves Skip Holt and his Birmingham Stallions.
Well, they won me a lot of money.
Congratulations. But let's talk reality.
Including last week.
I mean, except for that week 2 game of the season, they haven't looked good at any week this year as far as looking good and looking like Birmingham. But at number 2, unfortunately, I do have my DC Defenders who did beat these Birmingham to open up the season. Their defense is a problem, and obviously these things can flip-flop each week, but they put up a lot of points. They move the ball, and they throw the ball downfield. They throw the ball down the field more than anyone by far. Like Tamu has a lot of
that offense.
Yeah,
that offense is probably the best looking offense in the league. I would say, like, just the problem is as we inch closer and closer to the playoffs, what will their coaching staff be like? Will it, and because you've already kind of seen,
sure. I like it. They have a whole chip on their shoulder all year, and especially with that coaching staff leaving right before the season started, and the doorman is in there throwing the ball to linemen, getting angry at everyone. I like this whole attitude with this DC team, and I like the way they play. Yeah.
Who do you got at number 2, JMark?
I do have the Stallions. I hate to put them there now after you've talked them up so much. It just fuels your fire. But it's hard to rank them lower than that. I mean, they have looked pretty decent. Again, not as dominant as we're used to, but they do lead the league in points allowed, as in allowing the least amount, only 84 points allowed. That leads the league. So that defense is playing well, and they're leading in field position too, which in a league like this, that does matter. They're leading.
What is that?
Averages.
Coaching.
Is that coaching good kick returning?
Certainly special teams coaches. I know they tried to destroy special teams, this bullshit league, but like moving to that cockanimi kickoff, they're trying to get rid of special teams. It's it's a phony little thing that they're saying is leading to concussions. I'm sure it's just I'm sure there won't be as many concussions. Sure, but they won 26-3 a week ago, also, Bet Detective. So they did blow out those old Brahmas.
That was that Brahmas team that also lost 27-3 to Houston. I mean, that was a different kind of Brahmas team.
You just said they hadn't looked great. I was like, what do you call that?
They didn't look great in that game. That was a bullshit game.
What are you talking about?
Kirkland dropping the ball and jumping into the stands, finding the empty rows of seats. Anyway, let's move on. I can't. Come on.
Yeah, I got the Stallions at 1.
Before it becomes Father's Day and you're arguing with people.
What does Ric Flair say? Woo! To be a man, you got to beat the man. All right, and that's why the Stallions should be number 1 on everyone's power rankings, because they're the best goddamn team until proven otherwise. All right, who do you got number 1? Bet Detective. You got Michigan, huh?
Yeah, I got Michigan there. I can't take them out. They got the win. They were gifted by Blandino, but they got in a position. It's not like they were, literally handed to them. They played it to get there. Perkins is still probably the best quarterback in the league, as you say. You're MVP. So as long as you got him, big blow. That linebacker getting hurt, as JMark pointed out. That's 2 in a row now. That for them, 2 huge defensive injuries to them, but they still got a stacked roster anyway. So yeah, I can't take Michigan out for losing, for winning. I mean.
JMark, you got the Michigan Panthers too, huh?
I do. And their offensive line has looked very good. And I know part of that is the fact that Perkins is a true dual threat. He can run the ball very well, but it's opened up their run game with Toa so well. And if you can run the ball efficiently like that in the UFL, you are going to be a good team. Their defense has been pretty good. I do worry about Frank getting injured, but we'll see next week how that affects them. And Perkins, I mean, I think we can all agree it's MV Perkins. I mean, he has looked very good, and until he either gets injured or takes a step back, knock on wood, they're my number one team.
Yeah, there's only one guy that can steal the MVP. Guy who won the Freedom Cup a couple years back, who was working at Dunkin' Donuts a week ago. That storyline will travel. Right?
I noticed they cut Jalen Morton, the AF1 guy that they signed. So that's got to mean I think Magoo is coming back or Corral is coming back. One of them's coming back.
Magoo. It's Alex Magoo is back next week. So, but I don't think he's going to start. I think they said Jamar Smith's going to start next week, or maybe I'm reading fake news or something. I thought someone tweeted that shit out, but
that's Columbia news. Who knows?
Yeah, you're down here. There's a bunch of fans down here. That's why I'm so happy on Sunday.
Watch out for those Colombian parody UFL accounts on Twitter. You don't want to get fooled by them.
Folks, we'll be back on Thursday talking more United football where Crossroads meet bullshit. And in the meantime, check out the Old Fashioned Football Podcast hosted by JMark. What you guys got on tap for this weekend?
Yeah, well, we're just talking ball. We're talking futures. We're going to be doing a little, I think, Underdog Fantasy Best Ball Draft this weekend. Going to be up in Minnesota visiting Keeper's Heart, so we'll report on that.
Yes.
All sorts of good stuff. Football whiskey.
There you go. Go check it out. Also, check out the Bottom Line Bob's podcast. What do you guys got on? You're covering all the playoffs, Preakness. What are you doing here, Bet?
Got playoffs. We got the Preakness. Of course, I'll have a peek at it there. I'll bring someone in for that. And the PGA, another major golf tournament. Scumbagger Vance likes to give out some bombs there. I hit 100-1 U.S. Open last year. I can, and there's a couple triple-digit odds I like this weekend. So stay tuned for some big PGA bombs.
And don't go with that slander calling me out on this. The right play happened. Holding the team 46 yards, I think it was in the second half.
As Donald Trump said when he asked about getting that $400 million Qatar jet from Saudi Arabia, hey, like Sam Snead says, someone gives you the putt, you pick it up and say, thank you, go to the next hole. All right, so thank you for your Birmingham cover, go to the next hole.
Folks, I also host the College Football Experience and the College Basketball Experience. And make sure you check out the Sports Gambling Podcast as well. We're all on it. Till next time, this is the UFL Gambling Podcast. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
Run and shoot. We can really run and shoot. And the whole team's looking and the whole world's looking with the gamblers. Run and shoot. We can really run and shoot. And you know what you're getting, 'cause the book's rewritten.